But yeah, all jokes aside, though, we have to kind of kick things off on a serious note, on a sad note, I should say, though, because roughly a day or two before we met up here online, before the time it's recorded here, Chadwick Boseman, boy,
Yeah,
passed away.
really
Yeah,
horrible news.
and just to kind of kick things off, so this is not going to be a in memoriam, segment here. We're just kind of talking about um, what his career and the films that he started, I mean, the roles that he
Yeah,
picked, I mean, what that meant to us, basically, I mean. But yeah, in terms of me receiving this news, I was, just came home from work. I was just tired and, just something roughly close to 11 o'clock. So I'm just told me, go on YouTube, just see if some YouTuber I followed, put up a new video. And I saw this live stream with Chadwick Boseman dead. I'm like, what? So
all right.
the first thing I tell myself, like, all right, well, okay, maybe somebody on Facebook, somebody in my feed actually shared this, right? So went on Facebook, see a ton of people, put up these posts, these RIP posts.
Yeah,
Then I went to my credible source, that would be Yahoo, and I was like, seriously, this man died, though. But the thing
yeah,
that surprised me, right? And then we'll get to how you found out about it, that was how he died, actually, right?
right. Yeah,
And that would be, let's see. Let's put it up quickly. Right. With stage 3 colon cancer, which he was diagnosed with back in 2016, right? And
right. Yeah,
basically, he was battling with it for 4 years as it progressed to stage 4. So I'm
right.
like, I didn't even know this, right? Because I
Yeah,
know
no
it
one.
has some people who put up, the last Instagram post that he put up or tweet, whatever it is, showing his face and how his body looked and whatnot. Well, I think it's up his torso. But to me, because it
Right.
wasn't all over the news, I didn't even know that he was sick. You know what I mean? So that really
Yeah,
just caught me by surprise. Now.
yeah. No one knew. Well, very few people knew.
Oh,
You
okay,
know.
okay,
Yeah, it's not like this was news. It had hints of it when back in sometime in I think in April or March.
uh-huh.
Uh, he was there. So he had like some footage. He was looking sick, and people was kind of making thing about it, and everybody kind of was always making jokes. Oh, he looking tired and so on. So,
Hmm.
but those pictures look genuinely worrying, and what people said is either he's sick or some people dismissed it as him um preparing for a role.
Yeah, losing
A la,
weight for a role, right?
right, or something again, a la Christian Bale, right? I mean, Christian Bale is a person
Yeah,
like that, right? Um, and that's what people kind of dismiss it as. But some people was like legitimately concerned about the situation as it was, and then it just kind of went away. So nobody was talking about it, and then because of COVID just distracting everybody, nobody was thinking about it.
right.
Then, well, yeah, and he knew. From what I understand, everybody who was close to him was aware of the situation. So
Hmm.
I suspect already, like while they were shooting Black Panther, all Lupita Nyong'o would have known. Ryan Coogler knew. The higher ups at Disney knew. So people kind of prepared themselves for it. And to me, I think if they were aware of it and they prepared themselves for it, I think it kind of softened the blow for me a little bit. It's not like it was a big horror shock to them, I mean, it was a shock to me. But I'm some nobody in Trinidad, right? So I not my opinion not important in their grief or suffering in that sense. But yeah, for I understand the man do like what close to 10 movies or something like that in the period.
Yeah, well,
Uh,
okay. So I wouldn't say that's the exact figure, but yeah, from the time he was diagnosed,
is what yeah
he
from
just kept working. You know what I mean? He just kept
yeah
doing film after film after film.
yeah
And just to talk about films briefly, right? So for me, my introduction to Chadwick would be the movie 42, right? Which is a
right
movie that I would not have watched had it not been for the usage of Jay-Z's Brooklyn Go Hard. You know what
right
I mean? It was just all over the market for this, right? But I
right
looked at the trailer, I was like, wait, okay, this is interesting. Jackie Robinson and whatnot. Don't really
yeah
know much about him and whatnot. And I checked out the film. Honestly, I only saw it once. I don't remember much of it, but I remember really enjoying it. I really
yeah
dug Chadwick's performance in it. I remember
yeah
Harrison Ford was in it as well. He was great in that. Um,
right
Unfortunately, I missed Get On Up. I don't know. I just
right
beat
that's
myself to this day that I didn't see it. But I
yeah
imagine you saw it, right?
Yeah, that's the film that wake me up to him. Because I thought he was okay in 42, but he was
Right.
really good in Get On Up. I was like, wow, the man nailed James Brown there, boy.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, and the thing with Chadwick is that he's, he just kind of look like this. He's one of those you don't the public don't know him, but he just kind of come out of nowhere, and it's like, hey, how does black actor come out of nowhere and get all these big roles?
That's
And
right.
then when
Yeah.
once you do all these little dig up on him, you do a little bit of a little research, you realize, oh no, he's like a big theater person. He's one of those actors. No?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. And also he appeared in a bunch of TV shows prior to
right.
him even being popular in Hollywood, you know?
Exactly. So yeah, exactly. So it was one of these things that he just kind of he come up and then so people in the industry know him and then when he get a pick for Black Panther, again most people didn't know him, but I was like, oh yeah, right, he's one of these guys who's a good pick. Cause that's what Marvel is do, right? They just get somebody who no good but not too popular, to play the roles in these kind of things, and it's a nice little call. So it kind of train internet sleuths like me to look for that type of person when you're hearing who they could get for a role or whatever it is now. And yeah, so he was like on my short list as well, and I was like, yeah, when they picked him, I was like, yeah, would.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, the rest is history. I mean, I thought he was truly fantastic in Civil War.
Right, right, right. And this was our first introduction
To
to
the
his
character.
role as, T'Challa, aka
Yeah,
Black Panther, right? Yeah.
and yeah, and him going through the mainstream, really coming into the mainstream as a big character. People, for the first, yeah, we never get Black Panther on screen, so they actually pull it off, right?
Yeah.
And then he went on to do Black Panther, which was his mega hit, not only in terms of money, but in terms of just the cultural impact of it.
That's
And
right. Yeah.
I saw a lot of people like pulling at it, roping people who wouldn't be watching them comic book movies, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah. And to think it was just legit 2 years ago, and
yeah,
us being comic book nerds watching people go into cinemas with the shikis on,
yeah,
literally a few months from now it go be Avengers Infinity War, but none all gonna see that shit, right? But it didn't matter at the
yeah,
time because it was just such a big deal. Not just because
yeah.
it was a big landmark superhero film, but first time really in a long while that we had a mostly black cast, you know what I mean? And the way how they were
Right,
portrayed on screen, you know what I mean? That was just such a big deal, you know?
right. I would argue that it roped people in who want to watch the comic book movies.
Hmm.
They say, hey, what going on with these movies, boy? That kind of thing. So I would argue that. But yeah, he just he come in, he started to do other roles. He started to do other little iconic roles. He did the Thurgood Marshall movie, which has make fun because he didn't really look anything like Thurgood Marshall, but it was still a still a really solid performance by him.
Right. I
Yeah,
haven't seen it, unfortunately. I really
yeah,
should. Yeah.
yeah, he was pretty good in that.
Right. Also, just to get the comic book stuff out of the way, of course, there was Infinity War and Endgame, the
Right.
two-parter.
Right.
And one thing on Twitter, right? I mean, with people sharing clips of Chadwick's performance as Black Panther. The one scene of the show is in Endgame when he returns, right, in
Right.
the
Yeah.
portals and whatnot, and
Yeah.
just that moment alone,
Yeah. The big
that
scene.
scene alone, that sequence alone was brought the man tears out to me. I'd admit
Yeah.
that. I just love that scene so much, you know.
Right. Yeah. They did a really that's like probably a truly iconic scene, and he started it. Yeah. But as I say, he as an actor, he was pretty good. He did little small roles. Again, because I am surprised by it, but again because he kind of reserved himself to the situation. I don't think like again the problem with cancer is it's so touch and go now. You're not sure how long a person could survive, especially with cancers that could hold on or have a short rate of return, or rate of survival. Like in the case of say something like Patrick Swayze. Patrick Swayze, could have easily died decades prior, but he survived for a long
Oh,
time. Right?
okay.
Meanwhile,
I
meanwhile,
actually didn't know that actually.
right. Meanwhile, in his case, because of the nature of the cancer, it is colorectal cancer thing.
Mm,
Uh, that hard to sort out now because so tied into the function, the fundamental function of the body. Now. You can't
right.
just say, "Oh, I'm gonna replace my colon." You can't just do that.
Yeah.
Or cut that out. So via surgery and whatever treatments, it's one of these things that real touch and go, and it's kind of hard for him as it is.
Yeah.
As I said, what I would say, what I argue that softens the blow, if anything, is what the fact that they reserve themselves around it. He, resigned himself. He keep it quiet, but if my attitude is once you yourself not surprised or something like that. I mean, this hurt a lot less than say Kobe. because Kobe was like an accident. It was something that nobody
Yes, yes,
expected,
yes.
right? In that case, no. But this one is still very, very sad, and but at least you're somewhat stoic about it to maintain and take, and this, life has to go on.
Yeah,
Um,
that's true. That's true. And like we could talk about, well, I mean, why didn't he reveal that he had stage 4 colon
right,
cancer and all that kind of
right,
stuff?
right.
But that's just like an argument that really don't make any sense. That don't really hold any water.
Well,
It's like it's his
yeah,
decision. You know what I mean? To keep
exactly.
it within his
Yeah, is
private circle, basically.
you don't owe your ass nothing. No. I mean, is he's not like some politician or something. He's an actor.
Yeah,
He's just in the end of the day, he still have a personal life and whatever it is. I mean, but
exactly. And he
in
doesn't want
retrospect,
you. He doesn't want you worrying about him every
exact
time you see him
right,
on screen, right?
right,
Yeah.
right. That's true. Yeah, that's another thing too. Is that you don't want to think about him as that. But it really sad to see, like, in retrospect, all the little interviews about it and what he was going through at the time. There were a lot of interviews about cancer itself. He's talking about kids with cancer. He used to visit St. Jude's a lot.
Hmm.
Uh, as Black Panther, whatnot. A lot of people look up to him as a hero and whatnot. And
Yeah.
I think the cultural impact is fascinating to watch play out. You hear parents say things like, how do I explain to my son how Black Panther died? I know you explain death to children and these kind of things. No?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just people have to be, for the lack of a better term, you mourn, but at the same time, understand this is part of life. It's not something that could, that has happened.
Of
And I
course.
say
Yeah.
it's not to say again, if it was a surprise to him, I'd feel more sad about it. But he himself, the mere fact that he himself resigned himself and was, well, for lack of a better term, forgive the pun, he was regal about the whole
Yeah.
thing.
Hmm.
He held it together, and he's just, let me just live my life and give people as much joy as I can, as long as I hear, and that's what he did. And
Yeah. And
I can't be mad. You can't be mad at that. So
no, no, no. And just to touch on that quickly, that's really the one thing that I want to think about and take away from this, right? Above everything else, right? Because I mean, we could talk about 2020 being a sucky year. I mean, it was,
yeah,
especially with the people that we've lost, right? But I mean, that's just part of life, right? But at the
right,
same time, it's the mere fact that he was able to inspire and make other people believe. You know what I mean? Not just with Black Panther, but just himself as a person. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And sorry, in front and behind the camera, basically, right? And
right,
for me, I just want that to be something that I'll always remember. You know what I mean? Not just
yeah,
about, well, mainly about him, right?
right,
I I mean, I will may not be able to reach that level that he's at. You know what I mean? Ever,
right,
but still the little that I could do here and now, you know what I mean? Like what I'm
yeah,
doing here right now with this podcast, you know what I mean? Reaching out to my friends or my friends reaching out to me trying to help them out the best way I could. You know what I mean? I don't want to sound preachy, but the point is that we are not sure how long we're gonna live and whatnot. So it's just a matter of what we can do with this time that we're
right,
allotted, right? For a guy
yeah,
like him, knowing that he had this illness for 4 years and yet we were still mesmerized every time he was on screen, right? With
yeah,
Civil War and Black Panther and all that kind of stuff. It's just testament to how you know what I mean, just the type of person that he was. You know what I mean? He didn't let his illness get the better of him. And last thing I want to say though, Five Bloods, right? This would be the literally, well, you could say it is the final performance from him, but also, there's another Netflix film that's supposed to be,
right,
well, that was scheduled for release called Marini's Black Bottom. We're not too
right,
sure when that's gonna come out, but yeah, that
right,
technically is, the last time you're gonna see, Chadwick on screen. But
right,
yeah, I mean, even in the Five Bloods, even though the show wasn't primarily about him, you know what I mean, his performance as Norman Holloway, Storm and Norm, you know what I mean, was great in my opinion. Who
right,
he represented, you know what I mean, about Black Pride and all that kind of stuff, you know what I mean. So it's really the rules that he chose. I mean, yes, you had stuff like 21 Bridges, which I never saw. You had stuff like Gods of Egypt, where you just make a appearance. But the point is, it's not really so much about the films, but it's about the man himself and what he was able to do and how he was able to really impact the world. You know what I mean? Just by
right,
playing one character and then another and another. So yeah, I mean, I was shook actually that Friday night when I got the news,
yeah,
and actually, you know what I mean, and all through Saturday, just post after post after post, tweet after tweet. You know what I mean? Just people sharing their thoughts. You know what I mean? Rest in peace and all that kind of stuff. Too, man. I mean, yeah. I mean, this is how it had to be now. But just to look back at it and really think about, yeah, this is what this man was able to do and really impact the world so much that yeah, even ABC and all gonna show a special for this tonight. Times recording here.
Right. Yeah.
TBS gonna be running Black Panther, this week and all that kind of stuff. It's
Right.
just
Yeah.
yeah, just testament to how great a man he is. So yeah,
Yeah.
ramble enough. Chadwick Boseman, yeah, you
Yeah.
are a true legend. You're a true icon. Yeah, man. I was gonna say Wakanda forever for a sec, but yeah, man. I mean, you will be dearly missed. You
Yeah.
will continue to inspire millions of people, you know what I mean, regardless of skin color, you know, nationality, class, all that kind of stuff. You
Yeah.
did it, right? You changed your will. And
Yeah.
it's just a matter of us, doing the same in our own ways. Ricardo, any last thoughts on,
Yeah,
Chad?
yeah. I mean, because I was already kind of down because a local actress, died as well. Um,
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Well, I don't know
Annalisa
the
Whitman.
person.
Yeah, and
Um,
what happens? I was watching she face, she looked vaguely familiar, and I think she now came in when I was leaving. Um, and
oh,
I was like, wait,
snap.
this little young in there, Joe. I was like, wow, somebody, the little things like that to start me kind of down anyway. So that's why
Yeah,
I think that she just would mention it as well. Um,
of course, man, of course, yeah.
yeah, so yeah, that's Annalisa Wickham, if I didn't see it before.
No,
And
I'm
she
aware of it. I actually
right, right,
saw that well, her picture and a few articles being posted on Facebook. So I'm
right,
aware of
yeah,
it too. Yeah.
right, yeah. So it's just so those little things that I'm kind of down anyway. But yeah, Chadwick is a big deal for people. I could see it's really unfortunate and sad how these institutions between this and Kobe, boy, rough,
I know, right?
real rough, real
I
rough,
know.
real rough, real rough, real rough.
Yeah.
So yeah,
But all in all, life goes on, man. So,
yeah,
just I'm just hoping that to the people who were inspired by Chadwick, that they continue to do so and not just give up because he's gone. And for the next generation, the ones whose parents will show them the Black Panther films or the Black Panther
yeah,
appearances and photos and all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm hoping that you will be inspired to do great things and change your will, man.
yeah,
And you'll just leave it at that.
yeah.